Hey, this is Melanie Diane Howe, and you're listening to the DIY Marketing School podcast. If you're a new listener, welcome. This is going to be a great episode because I want to talk about what it's like to get stuck in your content or lose your joy in your journey of entrepreneurship, and how sometimes it's not about pivoting or making major changes, but it's really about aligning yourself to who you are and your core and finding yourself again. Let's do it. Do you ever find yourself trying to start something and you're like, you can't really quite get it started? You don't know how to start it. I mean, I have literally sat here and tried to start this podcast episode 4 times to the point where I'm like, I don't really know how to kick it off. It's kind of strange because normally I don't struggle with that so much, but every once in a while I will. Whether it's like I'm creating a video or something and I need to get going or get it started, or how do you do the intro? A lot of times I'll actually record an intro after I record my content, but this actually starting the content sometimes can be challenging too. And so that whole saying of the best way to get started is to just get started. That's what we're doing. We're just going to get started with this one. But so thanks for being here. But I got to say, I wanted to come in with this episode because it's been something that I've been thinking about, but I also have been overthinking, I think, a little bit about how to share these thoughts. And so this isn't really like a, tip full of tips or strategy or things like that. It's really just kind of like, I wanted to share something with you that I've been thinking about that's, I don't know, I guess I've been going through, but maybe it will be helpful for you. I think that one of the things I tend to do is I'll hear a phrase or I'll kind of know or understand how someone might be thinking about something. And then I like to twist it in a way that almost unlocks what you're thinking or how you're creating resistance to something. And that's kind of what this is about today. And so what I want to talk to you about is, there's the concept of pivoting or changing direction or, switching your content or switching your business even altogether. And I think a lot of times people will start with business in one avenue and then they get burned out, or they decide this isn't what I'm passionate about. I don't want to do this anymore. And they feel stuck and they get into a big rut because it feels so overwhelming to think about either starting over or making the changes that need to be made. And then the last thing I think that also sometimes people face is that they get really down on themselves and they feel like they failed. But what I wanted to say was, I'll share a little bit about my own journey in this aspect because I think I have definitely felt all those things. I have definitely gotten in ruts before. I've even talked about it in my own content. But, I think that I have felt that way in lots of ways. And I think it's very natural for us to feel that way. But here's the other thing. It's also we're putting a lot of expectation on ourselves if we think that we're going to go create a business or start, creating content or sharing content, and we're going to hit it out of the park from day one. That's a lot. But at the same time, even if we hear experts or thought leaders or people that have been running multi-million-dollar businesses forever and ever constantly tell us that that's an expectation we shouldn't put on ourselves, we still do it. We still do it because I think we want that. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Who wouldn't want to go start a business, love what they do, love their job every day? Because, entrepreneurship is hard as hell. You have good days and bad days, and you have awful days. And then you have great days, and it's a roller coaster. And so who wouldn't want to go through that, knowing, though, that we love what we're doing, and it's exactly what we were built to do, and it's exactly what we were meant to do, and we have the perfect audience, and everything's great. We would love that, but that's just not the way it works. I was listening to Gary V's Tea Time with Gary V, or whatever it was called today. He did a Facebook audio room, which this episode is not going to be about live audio, but that's coming. But he was there were multiple entrepreneurs asking him questions, and he kept giving them all very similar advice. He kept saying, you have to be patient. The process, the journey, the patience is so key. Everybody wants overnight success. Everybody wants to make the right decisions right away. Everybody wants all their efforts to have exponential, progress from day one, but it just doesn't work that way. And he was talking about how we have to be patient. And we've heard this over and over again. People say it's a marathon, not a sprint. I remember even sharing with some of my business peers 3 years ago. I was frustrated, and I was like practically like pounding my fist, frustrated, tears in my eyes. And I was just like, I can see where I can see the future. I can see where I want to be. I believe I can get there, but I want to be there. I just want to be there. I don't want to be in this messy middle. The messy middle was hard for me at the time. And I was really struggling with enjoying the process, enjoying the marathon, enjoying the journey, right? And I did get in a rut, but I also got into a rut because I felt like I was building the wrong business. I felt like I had been building the wrong business. I felt like I don't want to do this forever. I felt like, what if I do all this work and I hate it? I don't want to start over again because I've been doing this for, 4 years already at the time. And I was just like, this is hard as hell. And even to get to where I am now, it's been so hard. I don't know if I have it in me to start over. And it was difficult because I also, on the flip side, was like, I don't want to go the other route of going to work for somebody else or going back to corporate America with red tape and not having the creative freedom that I wanted. I didn't want that either. So I was like, what do I do? Where do I go from here? Like, I don't know if I have it in me to reinvent myself and to reinvent my business or to reinvent Melanie, the professional, whether that be create a different business or whether that be go back to corporate America or what it was. And this thought of reinventing myself just seemed so overwhelming because at the same time, I didn't really feel like I needed to reinvent myself. I was like, there's still something here that's right. There's still something here I'm connected to, but there is something else that I'm not connected to. There's other things that I'm not, where the dots aren't connecting. But this thought of reinventing myself was just overwhelming, and it kind of created a bit of a rut and, dare I say, depression, like professional depression. And it was affecting a lot of areas of my life. And I'm going to tell you right now, as I started this podcast and I said, how do you start with the podcast? I really didn't even plan on going down this route of description, but it's important for you to understand because I think a lot of people deal with these thoughts. I think a lot of people deal with these challenges. That is part of the challenge of entrepreneurship. It is fun and exciting when you connect with what you're doing, but you're going to have moments where you're not going to connect, or you're going to have moments where the list of tasks on your index card are not the tasks you want to do. They're not the tasks that bring you joy, but they are needed. So whether it's one of those moments or not. But anyway, let me get back to what I was saying. So I was dealing with this depression. I was dealing with this feeling of, like I said, this overwhelming, like, oh, how am I going to do this? How am I going to reinvent myself? How am I going to rediscover the path I need to go? And I just kind of like, I really wish I had like, here's my 5-step formula to how I got out of my rut. I really don't have that. But what I can tell you is that I had a moment where I basically said to myself, I just need things to be fun. I need to enjoy whatever it is I'm doing. And I just started tinkering. And I kind of just was like, I knew I loved marketing. I knew I loved communications. I didn't want to run a marketing agency anymore. I didn't want to, be doing the marketing for people. I loved helping people strategically. I enjoyed talking with people about what they should be doing. But the moment when they would be like, well, is that something you can help me with? I would always feel this compelling feeling of, yeah. And it was also how I needed to make money, but I hated it. I didn't enjoy it so much anymore. And it wasn't that I didn't enjoy doing it or feel capable of working with people or hiring people that could get those things done. It just didn't light me up the way it used to. And it was taking away from me getting to spend the time having fun doing the things I wanted to do. And so I kind of just honestly, I think I just sort of rebelled and just started having fun. And so I started tinkering. And honestly, I started wasting a lot of time. That sounds really weird, but I have you ever found yourself doing something and you're like, you enjoy it, but it's not necessarily moving the needle in your business, and it's sure as heck isn't getting the tasks done on your list that you need to get done because they really need to get done. So you keep doing something else, Do you do that even at home? Or even if it's like, you need to sit down and work on something and you find yourself cleaning your house or doing laundry. And not that you love cleaning your house or doing laundry, but you're enjoying it because you're not doing the other stuff. Well, it's kind of like that. And I was wasting a lot of time tinkering and playing around. But here's the thing. I was having fun. And what I decided to do is I was like, you know what? Start paying attention to what it is that is fun for you right now. Start paying attention to it. And it became live video, tinkering with applications, playing around, kind of like treasure hunting features inside of applications, figuring out ways to, I enjoy a day when I'm like, I need to figure out how to get this to do this, but I don't want to do it the hard way, or I don't want to try to learn this really complicated application, and then figuring out how to make it happen with an application that I am used to or familiar with. So I call treasure hunting, finding ways to duct tape solutions together to make something cool happen. And I really just started leaning into it. And then honestly, what ended up happening is next thing you know, I was leaning into it so much that I all of a sudden had reinvented myself. And I'm saying that, but I'm going to come back around to that term because I really don't think it's reinventing anything. And so, but what happened is I was really leaning into this live video space, and I was creating more and more live videos, and I was just showing up. And I actually, sometimes I'd be like, I don't even really know. I don't know what I want to talk about today, but I just want to go live. So I started creating these little things. I called them like hangout sessions. And so I would sit here, I'd go live because I, figured out a way to upgrade my camera quality. And I had these cool lights that I put up. Again, wasting time, right? I'm spending money I probably shouldn't have been spending money on, but I was having fun. And I was tinkering with StreamYard, which is the application I had discovered that I keep saying made marketing for myself fun again, because it was so fun to use. I could do really cool things that I enjoyed doing, like pull up my screen and share how to do something. So anyway, I was doing these like hangout sessions, and they didn't have any strategy with them whatsoever. It was like, come hang out with me. I want to go live because I like live video, and I'm bored because the pandemic's going on and I can't go anywhere. Come hang out with me while I design graphics or play around with Canva. Like, that's literally what I was doing. And it wasn't even like I got a ton of people showing up live, but it was fun, right? But I started doing this more and more. And then the next thing, what started happening is people would say, how did you do that? How did you hook that up? How did you get your Canon M50 to work as a webcam? And I started getting the questions. And then the next thing you knew, I had so many questions, and I decided, you know what? Why don't I create something to help people with this? I had never viewed myself as a live video authority or as a live video trainer, other than just getting people started with it. But never like, hey, look to me to help you with your live video, like game, your strategy, everything, all of it. I never felt that I was creating these super sophisticated live videos. I knew I was maybe, a little above average because most people are just using their phones. But I didn't view myself as that kind of, leader to my audience, or content creator, or even teacher, or person who says, pay me to teach you, especially. I certainly didn't look at it as part of my business model, but I decided not to resist it, and I just kept moving forward with it. And so then I became a person who now has programming that helps people with their live videos, whether it be my own program that people pay to be in, my Level Up Your Live Video Bootcamp, my coaching programs to help you one-on-one, or to help you in the group coaching program to get going with live video, or if you've been a part of somebody else's program where I was a guest teacher, or I provided a bonus content or a bonus module as a live, quote unquote, live video expert, live video coach. And I certainly didn't see myself becoming a partner for a live streaming application and creating content as a live streaming expert for them. I certainly didn't see myself being asked to be a guest on my live video mentor show, Luria Petrucci with Live Streaming Pros. I certainly didn't expect to get that phone call. Hey, come on my show and help my audience with live video. What? You're my mentor about this, right? You're asking me to come on your show. Holy crap. I certainly didn't expect any of those things. I certainly didn't. If you would have asked me 2 years ago, if I saw myself in this space, I would have said, I think I could probably learn it and do it, but there's all these other people already doing it. And I don't know, that seems risky. I don't know. I don't know if I can do that. But here I am because I got in a rut and I got stuck and I leaned into what was fun for me. And I started tinkering and I started wasting a little bit of time and I just leaned into it. And I know that sounds really simple. And as I said, I really wish I had some sort of like, here's my 5-step formula to figure out, how to, lean into what you should be doing. I don't. I'm just sharing my experience. But my point of this is what I really wanted to talk about is that if you're feeling this way or you get into those moments, don't look at it as reinventing yourself. Because I don't actually think I reinvented myself at all. I actually think that I realigned myself because I'm not doing anything that I wasn't already capable of. I'm not doing anything that I wasn't already enjoying or passionate about. It's just different. It just looks different. It's just realigning myself. As I said, this thought process where I was in that rut and that depression where I kept saying to myself, oh, how am I going to figure this out? Reinventing myself. It felt so much like starting over. And I had no interest in that process. And, but I also didn't feel comfortable saying I need to reinvent myself because I didn't feel that disconnected. I felt like I just had some missing pieces there were some buckets not being fulfilled, right? Both for me and honestly, for others out there who were learning from me or needed to learn from me. And so I stepped back, I stepped away, I wasted some time. I didn't do all the best practices. I didn't create weekly podcast episodes and I didn't email my list every week and I didn't, embrace all the opportunities that I could have embraced. I needed a little bit of that time. And I'm still kind of coming out of that. Like I'm still kind of embracing, I'm still realigning, honestly. And it feels good. But what I've been really thinking about, I've been really reflecting on this lately, which is why I wanted to kind of share this with you guys today, is that I feel like we're always going to be aligning ourselves to the future, to the next steps, to the next journey, to the next segment of the journey, and I think that if we embrace it that way, but also understand that even though it's a marathon, not a sprint, even though it's a journey, even though like Gary Vaynerchuk says, we have to be patient, you can find those segments and you can figure out how to handle each of those segments. Like last year and this year, my focus is live video, helping people with live video. A lot of my content has been around live video. That doesn't mean that that's how it's always going to be, but that's the segment I'm in right now. And by embracing that and going for it, I feel aligned because it's fun for me right now. That's what I'm enjoying doing. I have no idea if I'm still going to be having fun with that in 2, 3, 4 years. But it's what I believe in right now. It's what I'm enjoying right now. And because I'm enjoying it and because I believe in it, I'm learning about it, which means I'm soaking in information that I can share with others who aren't doing that. And I'm able to lean in and make this my thing right now. And people are looking towards me for this thing right now. And I'm always going to be looking for the next alignment opportunity or the next tweak that I need to make to stay aligned with my inner self. And that's really what this is all about, is that our journey as entrepreneurs, as business owners is going to change. It's going to change. It's going to evolve. You're going to take some steps forward. You're going to take some steps that feel like they are backward, but they're not. You're just repositioning your direction so that you can look for the next step to take. So even when we feel like we take those steps backwards, don't look at it that way. Look at it as you're changing your direction. You're not necessarily pivoting. You're not reinventing. You're just tweaking your alignment. So even I think that's what they're always telling us, right? Like you have to fail, but fail forward. So those feelings of failure, the word failure is, and what it means is up to us. And so we have to decide what that looks like. But I want to encourage you to not even let that word be a word, right? So if you feel unaligned or misaligned with what's going on right now, then I hope and I pray that you will be able to find the things that are fun. Because if you can't have fun, it's not going to work. And fun, you're the only person that can define what fun is. Because what's fun for you may not be fun for somebody else, and vice versa. So the other thing that I kept catching myself doing, and I would guess that you might do the same thing when you feel stuck, is you start looking at others to figure out what you're supposed to be doing. You start looking at others and you start modeling after, or you start comparing, or you start, thinking about what you want to be doing, and you start comparing, and you start like you're like, well, that's what they're doing and they're having fun, so that's what I should be doing. It should be fun for me. Not necessarily. So I think this does take some deep work, but deep work also doesn't have to necessarily be super heavy, super hard, and really, really time consuming. I just think that it's a matter of listening to yourself and doing things the way you should and need to be doing it. I'm a big proponent of doing things that are strategic, being thoughtful. And we have a lot of experts out there that are really great at guiding us to what works and what doesn't work. But nothing in this life is cookie cutter. Marketing especially is not cookie cutter. For example, weekly podcast episodes is the way to go. Weekly consistent content, right? But if you can't make that happen right now, then let go of the feeling of failure and do it the way you need to do it. Just do it though. And that is definitely something that I have embraced over the last year, is really, really, really trying to let go of that feeling of I'm not doing it the way I'm supposed to be doing it, so I'm failing. Instead, I've tried to change the narrative to say, I am doing this the way that I need to be doing this right now. And it may not be the absolute best that's going to get me the absolute best results, but it's what I have to do in this season, in this segment of my journey right now. But that doesn't mean it's always going to be that way. So stay aware of your goals, stay aware and thoughtful of what you want to be doing and how you want to be doing it. Find ways to make yourself get to that point where you can do it that way. But stop telling yourself you're failing because you're not doing all the things in all the right ways. You got to do it your way. I'm a big proponent of that. Whether it means you go a little rogue or whether it means you just break the rules. I always say, hey, to break the rules, you got to know the rules. So know the rules, know that you're breaking them, but don't stop telling yourself you're failing because you're breaking the rules, right? Kind of a different kind of episode, but I just kind of wanted to say, you're not reinventing yourself. You're just realigning yourself. And so I really hope that this, Deep Thoughts with Mel episode helps somebody out there. I shared a few pieces of my own story about how things are going and how things have gotten there. And I so wish I had a 5-step formula to help you too, but maybe just this little story will give you a little bit of freedom in what you're telling yourself and just help you continue moving forward. So go find the things that are fun for you, waste a little bit of time and focus on those things that are fun, because you got to find some joy. You got to find some fun in this because, hey, if you're in it for the long haul, it's got to be fun, right? You do it your way, do it the way you can, do the best you can, do the most that you can, but do it in the way that you've got to do it right now. And have some fun and lean into those things that are fun and that bring you joy. I promise, I believe it will work out. It will work out in the end. Great things are going to happen. All right, my friend, that's what I got for you today. I hope that you found this one helpful and enjoyable. If you did find this helpful, I will tell you, I would love your feedback. I'd like to know your story. I'd like to know where you're stuck. So feel free to DM me on any of the socials at Melanie Diane. Let me know how things are going. And if you feel like somebody needs to hear this that you know, go ahead and just get the link, send them a little message and share it with them. I think that I'd really appreciate that. And hopefully they do too. So, all right, you guys have a great day. Go be awesome.